It's time to talk about the Saturday games of Super Rugby Round 4. This weekend we have the Rebels against the Sharks, the Chiefs and the Brumbies, the Reds versus the Sunwolves, the Stormers and the Jaguares, and then the Bulls versus the Blues. Tell me in the comments which game are you most excited for. I'm pretty excited for those last two. It's probably because I am South African. The first one for the weekend, it is the Rebels versus the Sharks. They have played 7 times in the past before. The Sharks are having won 5 of them and 1 draw as well. The Rebels, they have only won that one game in 2018 at home though, so they have that going for them. The season so far for both teams, the Rebels, they've won 1 out of 3 games. Lost by 9 points to the Sunwolves, that was a shock one. Lost by 13 points to the Brumbies, and then won by 14 points to the Waratahs. So they have not been convincing so far. The Sharks 2 out of 3 beat the Bulls by 8 points, beat the Highlanders by 22 points in New Zealand. Last weekend lost to the Hurricanes by 16 points, but they had a lot of disruptions just before the game, and then a lot of injuries in the game. So that was quite horrible for them, but those guys, most of those guys are back. If we look at the sides, the Rebels, they made 4 changes to their side. 2 of them very big ones. Hodge, he's out for about 4 to 6 weeks. They say Tamua, he's out as well. They say probably just this week or the next one as well. And it's 2 of the most experienced guys in their side. That's probably going to be a big blow for them. They brought in Callaway on the wing, and then the rookie, they call him, Deegan at number 10. He's a former Western Force player. He played for the Australian schoolboys and then under 20. So I think he could slot in pretty nicely. He is quite experienced though as well. He plays similar to Tamua, a good kicking game, good at attacking the line. So I think it's good to have a guy that's very similar to your other number 10 that usually starts. Ainsley and Misa, they are in for Smith and Rangi. The scrum hasn't been bad, so bringing in these 2 guys, I wonder if this change is going to be good for them. Talking about the scrums, they have Thomas du Toit back, the Sharks. He's joined up by Oxenchair, and that's the 2 Springbok props for them. So strong contingent for them to compare them to the Rebels. The other changes in the side, Nohamba, he gets his first start at number 9 for the Sharks, and he really deserves it. Last weekend he was very good at number 10, really good at his goal kicking as well. He's a future star in the making. He should just continue with that. And then the great news for the Sharks, Bosch is back at number 10. He is back from South Africa after having that family issues. He's really going to be challenging Deegan, who is, I don't know, he's inexperienced, but experience is difficult to actually say what he is at the moment. He is being arrested for this weekend, so Jeremy Ward comes in and Esterhazen is the captain for this weekend. Look out for the back 3 of the Sharks, especially Fassi on attack. Very dangerous play, he beats guys left and right. Tackling though, might still need to work on that though. On the benches, the Rebels, English is back finally in the side. The Sharks, they went with a 5-3 split this time, probably because of those injuries last weekend. They wouldn't want to be in that boat ever again. Marius Lowe, he can play on flanker as well though. Even though he plays centre, he has played on flanker in a couple of games, and he was there at school level. It is the 3rd game on the road for the Sharks. It is usually the difficult one for a team to overcome, the 3rd and the 4th game. But this team does look stronger to me than the Rebels. They have better form as well. I think the Sharks could get another away victory by 10 points. After that game, we have the Chiefs, the undefeated Chiefs versus the Brumbies. As I said, the Chiefs, they've won all 3 games so far, including a game where they beat the Crusaders by 10 points. Then they also beat the Sunwolves last weekend with a largely changed side. So this weekend they have a lot of changes. But most of their big names are then rested out for this weekend. The Brumbies, they were on their verge for their 3rd victory in a row last weekend, but the Highlanders came to spoil that party in the dying minutes of the game. But all 3 games so far for the Brumbies have not been good at all. In history between these 2 sides, the Chiefs have won the 6 out of the last 10 games. The Brumbies, they haven't won in Hamilton since 2007. Looking at the teams, starting with the visitors, The outbreak of the mumps that the Brumbies had this weekend or this week around was quite strange. We don't hear that a lot. So we were expecting a lot of changes, but actually not too many guys are out. But I won't back Brumbies players for my fantasy in Superbru, which is in the description below. I don't know, those late changes might be coming in. They did say they didn't take anyone with any symptoms to this game, so hopefully for them. Talk about fantasy teams. Falau Fahinga, he is out for this weekend. He sustained a little bit of a toe injury, they say. He's a top Brumby try scorer, so that's a big blow for them. I don't know how they're going to do now, how they're going to go with their mauls, because he basically scores off of all their mauls, and that's how the Brumbies score tries. I don't know if they can just have the new hooker come in and just score the same type of tries. I think it doesn't work as easily as that. Then Swain and Wright, both of them are out with the mumps, so Neville and Muried comes in for them. The Chiefs, they made all-round changes because of that game they faced the Sunwolves with, that second string side. Their big names are back: Kane, Cruden, Anton Leonard-Brown, all of them. And then they welcome back Jacobson and McNichol, who had long-term concussion injuries or struggling with battles with that. The interesting one for me is Kane at number 7 with Sowakula at number 8. Anton Leonard-Brown also at number 13 instead of number 12. Nankivell has been playing really well at number 12, so I think he might be dethroning the king one of these days. Or what do you think, Chiefs fans? He's been good. Anton Leonard-Brown, of course, is very good at number 13, and I think this might just be to face against Kuridrani of the Brumbies. You need a big guy in front of him that does not tackle miss, and Anton Leonard-Brown, that's your man for that. I can't wait to see Aaron Cruden versus Lolosio in this one. Lolosio, he's been putting up his hand for the Wallabies. He's young, I think he's 20 years old. He might be a future star for them. At the end of the day, the Chiefs are the stronger side. I haven't even mentioned Damian McKenzie yet. The Brumbies, they score all of their tries with Falau Fahinga. He isn't there. I don't know if that's going to work the same just to bring another guy in and let him score the same tries. So at the end of the day, I think the Chiefs will win at home with 14 points. Next up, it is the Reds versus the Sunwolves. The Reds 0 from 3 so far. The Brumbies and the Lions were close games for them, but the Jaguares last weekend not so much. The Sunwolves 1 from 2. They beat the Rebels in that first weekend, then they had a bye, and then last weekend they basically did nothing against the Chiefs in Japan. The teams have played 5 times in the past, with the Sunwolves winning in 2018 at home. This is one of those ones where you think the Sunwolves might surprise. They have that record of getting some away victories just on the bounce, or you never expect it. The Reds, they are traveling from Argentina, so both teams have the travel factor. The Reds, they are playing their 4th game non-stop, whereas the Sunwolves, they are only playing their 3rd game in a row now, with that bye in the 2nd week. So the Sunwolves also has that history with beating teams that has a little bit of a bad record at the moment. So I don't know. You kind of have that hint of the Sunwolves doing something this weekend. As for the teams, the Reds, they made no changes at all to the starting 15. So you're bound to get it right sometime, aren't you? If you lose all the time, that team probably will get it right sometime. The sad news, though, is Pataya isn't just out for a week. He is out, in fact, for about 20 weeks, they said. So he will miss the rest of the Super Rugby season and the June internationals as well. The Sunwolves, Dargaville, he moves to wing. And then the ex-Brumby, Jackson Hope, he is at fullback. And then JJ Engelbrecht is at number 13. There's a few other changes as well, but on the bench, the Reds, they have 4 changes. Whereas the Sunwolves 4 changes as well, Rudy Page being the biggest one of all of them. Look, the Reds have been doing a lot right. They played 3 games on the road, though not the easiest games. McDermott and James O'Connor, they've been looking very good there. Partnership in the midfield looks pretty good at their 9-10 combo. Paisami, he stood out at that number 13 role for the first time last week as well. As for the Sunwolves, one moment they're good, the next moment they are very bad. The guys that has been playing well, and a combo that I think is going to be pretty good this weekend, April, Tio and JJ Engelbrecht. I think it's going to be a good mix-up. but still, I think the Reds at home will win by 12. Then we can talk about the South African teams, the Stormers versus the Jaguares. The Stormers, they are one of two teams that are undefeated so far. I don't know if you would agree with me, but the Stormers are getting worse every week. I mean, they beat the Hurricanes by 27, then a bit worse with the Bulls by 13, and then just beating the Lions by 3 points. But the thing that really is getting worse is their defense at the moment. And look, they can probably bounce back from that, just fix a couple of things. But they missed 33 tackles last weekend against the Lions. So something is definitely wrong there. It's up to them to kind of improve their game. They've been hyped up a lot, but I don't think they have been performing as well as as a lot of people claim. That win against the Lions might be considered in the changing room as a loss if you look at how the team played. But they bounced back. They showed some character. Great try at the end. They might need to score tries like that against the Jaguares this weekend. The Jaguares, they've been good. They slipped up to an angry Hurricanes team the other day, but they beat the Lions by 30 points. They lost to the Hurricanes by 3 and beat the Reds by 16 points. So, been quite good. The history between the two sides, 4 out of 6 for the Stormers. The Jaguares have never won in Cape Town. It's usually about 7 to 8 points splitting the teams at the end of the day. Looking closer at the teams, the Jaguares, they made wholesale changes. Buffelli, he moves to 15, his best position. That's where I prefer him. He's probably one of the best number 15s. I always call him the Argentinian Falau. He plays he's the same type of player. Cancelliere, he's at number 14. Cobelli at number 9, and he's also the captain for the week. Up front, Gorison comes in for Kremer. Alemano comes in for Petty. Petty and Kremer, probably two of the best players in the Jaguares side. Petty, he is a leading line-out taker in the competition so far, so they'll miss him a little bit over there. They've changed both props as well, and their hooker, Montoya, who scored 3 tries last weekend, is on the bench. For the Stormers, they made 4 changes, but all of them, I think, have strengthened up the side. The 101 Kappa, I think, is it now. Malarbe is on the prop. Schikkeling, he comes in as well. Kutsia, he's also in the side at number 6. That you just look out for him at breakdown time. And then the dangerous Herschel Yankees at number 9. Just look out for that interception tries for all the Jaguares fans out there. Some of the big battles I'm thinking that's going to be interesting to watch this weekend around the number 9s against each other. Willemse versus Miotti, both of them like running the ball. Both of them good playmakers. I think that's going to be good. Willemse still needs to sort out his goal kicking though. Both sets of wingers are going to be interesting as well, and the fullbacks. Look out for Buffelli at the fullback for the Jaguares, and for Peterson on the wing for the Stormers. While the Jaguares have a strong front row, I think the front row of the Stormers is one to fear in the competition. Both teams will rely strongly on their benches though. Dobson said that he wants his bench to up the ante and their intensity because he didn't get what he wanted from them from the Lions. They did let a lead slip a little bit from there. So they need to get their bench a little bit better. For the Jaguares, their subs are very good. Montoya, Petty, Kremer, Bonella, he's back as well. They have very strong guys on the bench. People say it will be like Test rugby, and I also think so. But it could be a high scoring game in contrast to a Test rugby game is usually low scoring. The Jaguares, they are very good attacking side, and they like pinning the opposition in their own half by a lot of kicks. But the Stormers are comfortable with playing in their own half and playing on the defense. So I don't know how that would play out for the Jaguares. Both teams are very strong, but the Stormers at home at Newlands, they've made it a fortress. I think the Stormers will win. Close margin by 3 points. Last game for the weekend, also an exciting one. The Bulls versus the Blues. Just a little disclaimer, if I do mix the two names up, I'm sorry about that. My tongue twists with these two sides all the time. The history between the two sides, 50-50 roundabout. The Blues haven't won at Loftus since 2012. In 2019, though, the two sides drew in Auckland. The season so far for the Bulls, 0 out of 2. Losing to the Sharks by 8, losing to the Stormers by 13. Having a bye weekend last weekend, they might have fixed a lot of things there and might be in better shape this weekend around. For the Blues, 1 out of 3 so far. Lost to the Chiefs, best side probably in New Zealand, next to the Crusaders. Lost to the Chiefs by 8. Beat the Waratahs by 20. Lost to the Crusaders by 17. So yeah, it's not been a greatest season so far for them, but they are on the road now as well without any rest between that, so it might be even tougher for them after facing the Crusaders last weekend. Closer look at the sides. The Bulls, they've made only one change, bringing in Vosloo in for Nonkontwana. I do like Nonkontwana, so it is bad for him to be out. For the Blues, Mafaleo is in at prop, Pierce is in as well. Big Red comes in at number 6, Lamborn in at 7. And if that wasn't enough changes, what's better than one number 10 on the field or one fly-off on in the side? It is 3 fly-halves. Black, Plummer and Perafeta, all number 10s, are on the park this weekend around in scattered positions. Narawa, he also gets a chance on the park at number 14. With that number 10s all over the park, I don't know what they are planning to do. Are they planning to kick a lot? Are they planning to pin the Bulls as well? Are they just planning to try and combat Morne Steyn in the side? Are they just searching for a guy that can kick his goal kicks? Because the Blues have been struggling with that. The Blues bench, they have some strong runners, Fayane being one of them. The Bulls, though, they went with a 5-3 split with Papier coming on as scrum half, still speeding up the game a little bit at the end of the game. For the Bulls, they have underperformed this whole season so far. They've lacked a lot of tries. They've talked to the attacking coach, and he says tries are coming, so who knows against the New Zealand side. As for the Blues, I don't know what to expect with the tries from them because of all those 10s. Look, either they're going to kick the ball a lot, or that's a lot of playmakers on the park just to set up a lot of guys around them. The defense may slip up, though. Number 10s aren't known for being the best tacklers on the park. The forwards are pretty even at scrum time, lineouts and breakdown, so the Blues might challenge the Bulls, but the Bulls, they had their off week, so they could have prepared well for this game. All their little niggles probably are fixed now, and I think it might be a close game at the end, but the Bulls are at Loftus, so I think the Bulls by 5. Guys, let me know your predictions for this game down in the comments below. Then also check out any of these games popping up next to me, and also subscribe to the channel. Cheers.